In this session, we're going to see work with a young woman who really had this feeling of that she didn't deserve loved or will never be able to get love. And this emanated from a painful childhood. And we got to her sadness and lonely abandonment. And I used different types of chair work, which will become clear as you look at this video.
Just like something like, you don't deserve love.
Right.
No one's going to stay around. You'll always be on your own.
Sure. I mean, these are the sort of sentences there planted somehow from your past. You don't deserve love. Nobody will. Let the tears come. They're very important tears because they really are going deeply to what's most hurtful.
People don't have time for you. They don't want to help you or support you. Your son's not important to anyone.
Sorry, I didn't.
My son isn't important to
anyone.
Anybody.
Right. You'll be left all alone, and nobody will be there for you. And this comes from where? Let's elaborate it. How did you learn this?
I know it from researching my history.
Yeah.
I was born, I was abandoned at 11 days old.
Wow, yeah.
And my entire childhood, up to the age of 4, was that of being in social services and passed around.
In this session, we see the beginning of 2-chair self-critical work. She's in this critical chair, and we get to this negative voice in her head. You don't deserve to be loved. No one is ever going to be around for you. And this is good because she's getting engaged. And what's important to notice at a more technical level is the tears come up in the self-critical chair. Now, the whole process is designed for the critic to be criticizing and then for the person in the self chair to be experiencing their feeling reactions. But it often happens that the tears come up because we've just got one whole person, not really two different parts. So as she says to herself, you'll never get love or you don't deserve it, the tears come up automatically. So I understand that those are tears of the self and will eventually move her to the other chair. What's important also in this segment is you'll see I give her permission, I encourage the emotion. It's okay to cry or things like this, because people feel awkward, ashamed, embarrassed about crying. So there's really permission to feel. There's her core pain does come up. And this basically, it comes up very early, this feeling of lonely abandonment and unloved. And this is what the chair work is really about. It's to try to get to that core feeling so that eventually we can bring some new experience into that feeling.
She used to say, something, don't feel, just do.
Right. So that's a very central message. Don't feel, just do. And do what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole one, laugh and the world laughs with you. Cry and you cry alone.
Yeah. And you laugh now, but I mean, it wasn't a laughing matter, right?
No.
This was extremely controlling and left you feeling very unnurtured, right? Unloved, unseen. What's the? I mean, what was the message? I don't care about how you feel. Just obey. What?
I think it was, we'll only see you if you're towing the line, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you'll get rewarded if you are doing what we do, doing what we say when you should do it, and there's no space for anything else.
Yeah. Say this to her, right? You only.
So if you do what we say, if you behave, if you act the way we want you to do, then you're important to us.
So you're only important if you really fit in with what I dictate, right? So in this segment, we're still in the two-chair dialogue, but it's beginning to change because the mother comes into the critic chair. So it's a mixture of different things, but essentially we get the mother giving the message that was received as a child, which the client has internalized, and she now gives it to herself. But we're now going to the origins, and this is a very important part, because it seems cruel, but it's really cruel only to be kind. Because we're going to get her, I try to get her to be the mother doing the negative kind of thing and delivering the negative message. So we get to the mother saying that there was a phrase, don't feel, just do. And another one, I think it's like, if you laugh, the whole world laughs with you. But there's a lot of negating, invalidating messages. But what's good from a process point of view is, as the mother, she gets engaged. Thoughts come up or memories come up, and this means the client is really now engaged in this dialogue. And that's what we want, is actually activation of the internal experience. So if this is a part of you that really deflects her from feeling, I mean, understandably, it's a protective part almost, because those are painful feelings, but you're the part that makes her laugh it off. How do you do that? I mean, I know it just sort of happens, but so you're the part that stops her from feeling the feelings. And this is difficult because it's automatic, I know. But what do you, I mean, you might just start with words, which is don't feel. It's really laugh, and the world laughs with you. But, you know, there's a whole process inside that somehow takes her away and protects her from the pain.
I think it's something like, don't feel, you're going to cry.
Yeah.
Don't cry, for God's sake, don't cry.
You know, yeah. And do that some more.
Don't get angry.
Yeah.
Don't lose it. If you lose it,
yeah.
all hell will break loose, and then you'll get in trouble.
Yeah, and also if you lose it, you won't be able to function, I think. Yeah.
You might not be able to pull it back.
Yeah. And so this is like the pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so do it some more, because this is really important, right? I mean, this is what you kind of do to yourself.
The physical movement, you mean?
Yeah, and I'm just going to get, we don't have a prop here, right? I'm just going to get a sweater.
Okay.
So this is like you or your neck or your feelings, right? Can you do this to them actually physically?
Touch it?
Yeah, squeeze it. What is it that you do in your body to yourself? To your emotions? I mean, it's some sort of,
God, I've never really thought about that.
No, and it just happens, But it's like,
I think maybe like
yeah, exactly.
roll it
Right.
up.
So try doing this without laughing.
Okay.
Okay. And describe what you're doing. And actually, so these are your feelings.
I think I'm just trying to make them really small.
Yeah.
It's like if I can make them really small and tidy, like
And tidy.
they have to be really, like this isn't
Right.
very tidy.
Yeah.
At least if I can try and smooth it down a little bit. And just kind of make it a bit small.
Yes, yes. So I want you in a neat, sort of tight box. What are you saying? Don't
do that.
Exactly.
Come back
Right.
here, emotions.
Yeah. So these are the two, right? I'm going to tie you up into a tight little knot or a neat little box so that you don't burst out.
Yeah.
So where in your body do you how do you do that? Do you stop yourself from breathing? Do you tighten your neck?
I definitely stop from breathing. My son, who's only 7,
Yes.
always says to me, "Mum, you stop breathing."
Breathing, really?
And he'll say, "Breathe, Mum. Did you forget to breathe?" And I was like, probably. I can't remember.
Yeah. So these are all ways, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I want you to really imagine that you are the stopper, right? The one who stops her. In this segment, we see how I don't stick to one theme or one intervention. So a new type of chair work comes up, which we call self-interruption. So I'm still using 2 chairs, but now we no longer have a critical voice in the chair. We have a voice that represents a blocking agent, or what I call a self-interruptive process. And one of the real things to try to do is to get into the action that occurs in the body. They're cognitive interrupters, which is like you don't feel, because if you feel, you'll get in trouble. But then there's what you do in your body. You tighten your jaw, you tighten the neck, and so on. So I try to begin working with the body. Now, I also make the observation that I ask her can you do it without laughing? Because her laughing is one of the interruptive processes. But interruption is really self-protection. I mean, you're afraid of the emotions and you're trying to protect yourself. So the laughing, it distracts or takes you away from feeling the pain, but it's important to recognize that it is a self-protective process and is to be respected. But then she really does get engaged. I bring in the sweater or the jacket, and she really does get engaged in twisting it and putting it into a little package. And so this is very important. She's now really engaged in, and this is sort of like, it's an expressive action, but it's to raise awareness that she is doing something to herself. So there's a happening. The happenings are, it happens to me. I just turn away from my emotion. But I'm wanting to turn it into a doing, that you do something to yourself. Essentially, you silence yourself, you squash yourself, you suppress your emotion. And so we're getting her to embody it in action. And that's both a representation to her head that this is what she does, but also she feels things in her body while she's doing it and becomes more aware. And there's something about when you use your body in action, it affects the rest of your body and you release. So it's like when she does that, I think it helps her to release her neck. It's just that as we engage more physically, our whole body changes. But she says, make you feel small and tidy. And one of the things I'm listening for is her voice. Is she just doing this compliantly? We don't want her to comply and just do it to get my approval or whatever. So I'm listening to her voice, but her voice becomes quite what I would call focused, internally focused. She really feels what she's doing when she says, make it small and tidy. And I think these are important kind of cues.
Just disappear, really.
Say this again.
Just disappear. You need to disappear.
Yeah.
Then you won't be a problem to everyone.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite difficult.
Mm-hmm. Try and stay with how really painful that is, right? What you just have to disappear. Don't be a problem to anyone. Breathe.
I forgot to breathe.
Uh-huh. Change, if you will. What? Tell her, and this is now you, what it's like when she does that to you.
Gosh, it feels impossible.
It's suffocating, right? But it feels impossible to
stay so small or not breathe, or it's just, it feels painful in my head and my heart, and it's almost like I can imagine walls coming up around me.
Yeah. And it sort of locks you in. A misguided kind of protection, but really, I want to what? What do you need from her, or what do you need?
It's just like I want permission to break out, or to be free, or to talk, or have feelings, or be noisy, or be messy, or just be human, I suppose.
Yeah. See this part of you and tell her.
Oh dear. I forgot, who's this person again?
This person is it's a part of you. I mean, it is your internalized adoptive mother, I guess, but it's you now in a way. Right? The part of you that stops you from breathing, that ties you into a knot.
I just wanted to go away. Go away.
I want her to go away.
I want you to go away.
Yeah.
I've got a headache. Like, I seriously do have a splitting headache now.
Yeah.
And it's like my head is going to burst open. Needs to burst open.
And I want you to let me out.
Yeah. Because, I want you to let me out, because it's not true. I know it's not true, what it is that you're telling me and how things need to be.
I deserve to be able to express.
Yeah, I do. I deserve to be able to express myself.
So in this segment, we're now back in the self chair, but still in the self-interruptive process. So there's been the squeezing, the holding, the containing of the emotion. And then we get to, what does it feel like to be so suppressed? And she gets to, I just disappear. And it's poignant. and I ask her to tell her what it's like, because we want to elaborate that feeling of what it feels like. Because if the person feels enough of the pain of what it feels like to be suppressed, then we'll get to the need of what they want or need in order to help not feel so much pain. And that begins to happen. But she does first describe how it feels impossible, how it's painful, how like walls come up around her and protect her. But eventually we get to, I deserve to be, I deserve to have permission to be. And this is what we really hope for in this intervention, that eventually the person will feel their right to exist, their right to have a voice, and they'll begin to assert that they want to be able to be let out of the cage, so to speak.
The thing is, like sitting in this chair looking at her, I don't actually want to hurt her because it's not in my being. It's like I feel really sorry for her.
Okay. Yeah,
I feel that, you know.
Tell her.
I just feel really sorry for you. You have this opportunity to be loved and to give love in the most amazing way.
Yeah.
The way that mothers and daughters should love each other.
Right, right. I could have given you so much love. You lost that possibility of a daughter.
Because that was what I always wanted, was a mum, you know.
Yes.
I never had one. It was always taken away from me.
Yes.
And then we had this one opportunity to be a family together. All of us. He didn't. He made it like it was a problem. Like we were just problems. I was a problem all the time.
Yeah.
We weren't problems. We were just growing. We could have grown together. And I feel really sad about it.
Yeah. I missed having the love of a mother, and you missed having the love of a daughter.
Yeah, I could have loved you so much. I get more in the way of, instead of just being a performing monkey, you know, I could have been a human child.
And can you see if it fits to say, I deserve to have a mother who loved me?
I deserved to have a mum who loved me.
How does that feel?
It feels really true. I know that I do still deserve to have a mum that loves me. My mum is now dead, actually. She died
I see.
4 years ago, but 5 years ago. But I didn't really ever get that chance to have that experience. But yeah, I really deserve it. I'm still waiting for it. You know.
So now in this most poignant piece, we get to her core sadness. So now she starts off, and I actually think I say to her, can you tell your mother you're angry? Or she had expressed some notion about violence from the mother and to the mother. But she immediately, spontaneously goes to, but I don't want to hurt my mother. And then I feel this tremendous, or she feels this tremendous sadness about the love that could have been but never was. And then she goes into this core painful feeling of unlovedness and the loss. So in some way, this is her core painful feeling, but it also has a little bit of beginning to grieve what she missed. But essentially, it's this core feeling which she'd started off with, I don't deserve to be loved, or I'll never be able to get the love that I need. And that comes from this core painful feeling of the missed love. and I missed it, I needed it, and I want it. So we're trying to help now out of the pain to get what was the need. And eventually she does get to, I think with a little bit of my prompting, to say, I deserve to be loved. And the deserve is I think I skipped getting to the need. Deserve is a stronger form of need. And usually it's best to say, tell your mother what you needed, and then what you deserved comes out. Because you need to feel you deserve to have the need met. But it's very clear that the loss of love and the sadness about it is this pain that she's carried through her life from 4 years old at least, right? So this is a very important moment. So I'm going to ask you to make me feel like I don't deserve, that I can't believe that I deserve to be loved.
Make you feel like that?
Yeah. Tell me what I would have to do in my head or inside my body to make me feel what she feels. Instruct me.
I have to think about it.
Yeah, it's complicated, but I think it might, because there's a whole lot of automatic things that go on in you. But I mean, you might first say to me, like, you've never seen love, so how can you ever expect it? But tell me what I'd have to do to feel that. I'm sorry if it's complicated.
No, it's all right. I'm just getting my head around it.
Yeah.
So I would have to tell you things like that you're the only person who's going to solve the stuff going on in your life.
Yeah.
There's no one else coming to help you. Nobody's really interested in what you have to say or what your feelings are, because really no one's really got the time, and they're all too busy.
For you. Yeah.
And
then what would I have to do in my body?
Just close up. You need to close up your body.
How? Tell me.
Just stiffen up and
Shoulders.
make small, shoulders, and stay still.
So that's very important. What would I have to do to stay still?
Just stay in that
body?
little chair still. Don't move.
Right. But what would I have to do to not move? Would I have to freeze
Maybe
my
freeze.
body?
Yeah, freeze. Freeze the body. Don't breathe.
Where most? What muscles?
I think I can see where you're going with this. But I think it's like for me, it's the upper body.
Upper body, yeah.
And the neck and the head and the heart. Protect the heart.
Yeah.
Protect the heart.
Uh-huh. So this is what I would have to do, and this is what you do to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny now that you're saying that, I always do things like I always overdress. I always put too many jumpers on, and
I see.
even sometimes I'm hot, but I still keep them on because I need that kind of
Protection.
wrapping. I'm always wrapped up around in my bed. I always wear my earmuffs way past winter. Sometimes in the house because it feels safe.
Safe, yeah.
It's like just keep everything sort of cocooned.
Right. So in this piece, I use a particular technique where I turn to her, and it's quite surprising usually to a client, but I ask her to tell me how she could make me feel that I didn't deserve love. Or essentially, it's to try to help her articulate more, differentiate more what her internal processes are. by telling me what I would have to do in order to feel like she makes herself feel. And so I say, tell me what I would have to do. And at first she gives me some of the cognitive things that she says to herself, but then she also starts focusing on the bodily, the more automatic things like don't breathe and so on. So we actually help in this way for her to feel her agency, that she really is an agent in this stopping herself, that she does things. And it's a way of sort of externalizing it by talking about what I would have to do inside of me. Sometimes there's the person says, but I'd hate to do this to you. And I sort of reply with, yeah, I understand, but somehow it's okay for you to do it to yourself, or is it okay for you to do it to yourself? Because they feel the sort of torturingness or the cruelness of doing this to another person. And what did you feel as you said it?
A little bit of hesitance, but I could just keep repeating it to myself.
Mm-hmm. Can you say it again?
That I am worthy of love.
Again.
I am worthy of love.
Mm-hmm. Can you look at me and say this?
I am worthy of love.
You seem like you really could be a very lovable person. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful smile and a very tender heart. I hope you really can hold on to that I am worthy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I feel touched in this moment. How are you?
I feel good. I do feel tired.
Mm-hmm.
I think it touches a lot of deep stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to go away and sit quietly somewhere.
Yeah. And what's it like for you when I say, I feel you deserve love?
I feel like you're telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to hear.
Yeah.
I feel a bit shy.
Yeah. Me too, actually. Mm-hmm. But it's important to allow yourself to feel that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. All right, maybe it's good just to go back into yourself, Will Endorf. Now. So in this segment, I try to help her to voice, I am worthy of love, or I am worth love. But we're ending the session, and now this becomes a more relational process. One is to bring into the world with another human being, me. She's been enacting it in the chairs that I'm worthy of love, but then I ask her to say it to me so that she can actually have the experience of doing this in the real world. And I then also validate this feeling. And this is a type of corrective emotional experience. I mean, it's just very small, but she has the sad loneliness of feeling she can never be loved. And I react really genuinely that I'm touched by her, and I wish for her to be able to get the love she needs, because I feel she does deserve it. So I believe this is a type of corrective interpersonal experience where she's having validation, where in her life she hasn't had a lot of this validation and appreciation of her. And then I also ask her to reflect on what it's like to feel validated by me. I just spent a little mini time on that, but we spend a lot of time on the painful emotions, but at the end, when they're positive emotions, it's also good to concretize them and to sort of reflect on what does it like to feel understood. And this is how, because this relational process is helping to break the isolation. She's always felt so alone and so unseen and so unresponded to. So this is just a little taste of what it's like, and to reflect on what it's like to feel loved or to feel seen and valued. So in general, in this therapy, we get to her anger, and then we get to her core painful sadness of unlovedness. And then in a way, a new emotion starts emerging with both, I am deserving of love, that's more a need, but there's some feeling of worth in herself after we work through the interruption. And then finally, hopefully, this last little moment with me is a beginning of an emergence of a new feeling of actually receiving what she never received before. And over therapy, this would have to be elaborated on and repeated, and some of the feeling of that it's possible to receive the kind of care that she so missed would come from the real relationship with me. But we'd also eventually maybe hope for her as an adult to be able to, in another kind of chair dialogue, soothe the wounded child within her and be able to feel self-love or self-compassion. And I think also maybe some other feelings, and it shows you, I can't tell what feelings would come up, but we'd find other feelings which would help transform the sadness, that sad unlovedness, and she might even feel love for her child, and that will fill her up and not feel so alone in the world. So we don't actually see a strong changing emotion with emotion. It's a single session, but they're beginning little pieces of that. But we certainly see her getting to her core painful emotion, a need coming out of that, a sense of I deserve to have better coming out of that. And that's an important step in the process of change.